So please join me in Gasho. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. So welcome everyone from wherever you're joining in. Let me just spotlight myself here. Okay. So welcome, and for those on the West Coast, we're experiencing here in the Lower Mainland area at least a beautiful fall morning. It's sunny out. We've had a lot of rain the past couple of days, so it's nice to see the sunshine. And welcome to those who are not locally, but are joining in from out east. And hello and good afternoon, I guess, for some of you. We'll begin this morning service with a moment of silent meditation, followed by a recitation of the name of the Buddha or the Onenbutsu. Please join me in Gasho. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Next, I'd like to ask you to join me as we read together the homage and Tisarana, and I'm going to actually share that with you. Let's see what comes up here. That's not the one. That's not the one. Let me pull it up. Let's see. That's not it. Here it is. Okay, there it is. So we'll read this together. If you could see it on your screen, can you all see it on your screen? Yes. Okay. Oh. I'll make it a little larger for you. There we go. Okay. Homage. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we are hearing them. If we do not gain emancipation in the present life, we may not be free from sorrow in the ocean of births and deaths. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures. Three treasures. We go to the Buddha for guidance. We value the ideals to strive for a higher consciousness. We go to the Buddha for guidance. We value the ideals to strive for a higher consciousness. We go to the Dharma for guidance. We value the harmony of the oneness of life. We go to the Dharma for guidance. We value the harmony of the oneness of life. We go to the Sangha for guidance. We value the love and compassion of our family and friends. We go to the Sangha for guidance. We value the love and compassion of our family and friends. I believe I sent this out to all of you. It is, it has a little explanation at the bottom of it to about the homage and three treasures. So if you wish to print that off on your own, please do so. Are you all able to hear me still okay?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, then next we will have the sutra chanting, and we are going to actually be chanting the Jusege, and you should either have it or it's on your screen in front of you, either way. And we will be chanting the Jusege, and we will be chanting both in English and in Japanese following that, or in Japanese, and then we'll be chanting it in English afterwards. Okay, thank you. Naman Dubs, Naman Dubs, Naman Dubs, Naman Dubs. Gagon Chosega Ishimojono Shigan Manzok Sevujo Shogak Gawo Muryogo Ui Dai Se Shu Sai Sho Bing Se Vu Jo Shogak Nga Shi Jo Bud Do Myo Sho Jo Ji Mo Ge Gyo Mi Sho Mo Se Vu Jo Jo Gak Di Yok Jin Sho Ne Jo E Shi Bong Yo Shi Ge Me Jo Do I Sho Den Ni Shi Jin Gi En Dai Go U Sho Me Sai Do Sho Jo Sang Ge Myo Go Sai Shu Yak Na Gai Chi E Ge Me Shi Go Mo He So Ge Sho Ge Do Tsu Da Tsu Zen Shu Mo Go So Jo Man Zok I Yo Ro Ji Mo Ni Ji Ga Tsu Shu Ju Gi Ten Go Mu Ge I Shu Ga Yo Zo Ho Se Gu Do Gu O Jo Dai Shu Ju Se Po Shi Shi Gu Gu Yo I San Gu So Gu Shu Do Gu O Gan Ne Shi Zi Jo Ma Do Gu I Sang Ai Yo Nyo Bu Bu Ge Ji Tsu Da Tsu Mi Bu Sho Gang A Gu E Rik Do Shi Sai Sho Song Shi Gan Ya Go Ga Dai Zen Wo Gan Do Ko Gu Sho Den Ni Do Ji Myo Ge Okay, next we're actually going to have the chanting of the English version of this. Verses reaffirming the vows, Juseye. And you could just follow along the screen, or if you have it, you could join on with what you have. So we will have the chanting of verses reaffirming the vows, which is a translation of what we just chanted. I have made unrivaled vows and will reach the highest path. If I fail in any way, may I not attain Buddhahood. Should I not provide to all for countless kalpas to come, aid in times of suffering, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will reach enlightenment, but unless my Buddha name resounds throughout the universe, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will practice the noble path, wisely, mindfully, free of greed. Seek to reach the supreme way. Be a guide to one and all. May my power shine great light to illumine and dispel the darkness of the three poisons and save all from suffering. With eyes of wisdom I'll remove the darkness of ignorance. I will close all evil paths, open gates of highest good. When I attain Buddhahood, light will shine throughout all lands, light brighter than sun. sun and moon, outshining our heavenly lights, giving my virtues to all, not forsaking anyone. I will proclaim the Dharma like the roar of a great lion, bowing before all Buddhas, steadfastly gaining virtues, with wisdom fulfilling my vows. I shall be a guide to all, like the wisdom of my teacher. May my wisdom also shine all throughout the universe and illumine one and all. If I shall fulfill these vows, may all lands tremble with joy. From the heavens, wondrous flowers rain down upon all the lands. Namanabu, 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 Namanabu. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Okay. Oh, actually, that's okay. The chant that we chanted, the Jusege, it's called the Jusege, or verses reaffirming the vows. Jusege means vows repeated. And if you looked at that, and I took it off the screen, I wonder if I still have that. Oh yeah, okay. So if I bring this passage back up, you'll notice that in the first 3 stanzas, it ends with, may I not attain Buddhahood, may I not attain Buddhahood, may I not attain Buddhahood. So this was said to be, this chant was said to be a chant that was done by Amida Buddha when he attained enlightenment. And the first 3 stanzas end with that same, may I not attain enlightenment. And there are vows. He's repeating vows again that he had made when he was what we call the Bodhisattva Dharmakara. And so upon becoming Amida Buddha, he repeats again and he reiterates some of those vows. And that's why Jusege means vows repeated or verses reaffirming the vows, if you will. And that's where the title for this sutra comes from. So today, for the Dharma talk, I've asked Roy Sensei to give a message today. Hopefully, last time we had a little bit of technical issues, and you recall when Roy Sensei gave the talk, there was very loud interference. So hopefully we don't have that this week. And without further ado, I'd like to call upon Roy Sensei to give the Dharma talk.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
You can take your mask off.
I'll take my mask off now. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Is it working?
Yes.
Good. Good. Okay. Glad you can hear me. Anyway, good morning again. Namaste. Namaskar. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhamman saranam gacchami. Sangam saranam gacchami. Greetings from the stations that we visited in India. If you go to many of the historical sites in India, there is a person in a lotus sitting position, and he or she, they'll put their palms together and they'll repeat Namaste, and they'll repeat the three treasures. And it's quite a sight to experience. And this reverence that you feel, you sense, it just kind of pervades throughout your body. And what happens is that you can sense the oneness between myself and the person that's reading you and the Buddha statue behind that person. And so it is perhaps something that we should do in our temples, where every morning we greet people with Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Anyway, let me begin my Dharma sharing with you. And I say Dharma sharing because to me, what it is that I'm sharing my thoughts, my little bit of experience, knowledge in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism with other similar Dharma followers. We're on the same path together. And for me to say that I know more, it would be total arrogance on my part. And I feel very humble that I'm able to join you this morning and share my thoughts about Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. You know, my backdrop for this morning's Dharma sharing is going to be the Remembrance Day services that we recently had. We had a major service in the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. We had a Remembrance Day service in Victory Square in Vancouver. And in the United States, they had a Veterans Day ceremony in Arlington Cemetery. There was another one that was held here in Stanley Park at the Japanese Memorial Monument. And there, the British Columbia Jodo Shinshu Federation, we join other religious faiths and other associations in giving our recognition and remembrance of those who fought in the First World War, the Second World War, and other wars as well. And this year, the president of the Federation presented a wreath at the monument. And so that's going to be the backdrop to my brief, I hope it's brief, presentation this morning. The services, in some way, are very poignant for me because what it does, it brings me back to the research that I had done with regards to the monument that was found in 1995 in Gingolaks village, Nishka First Nations. And there, this archaeologist found this monument. And on this monument was engraved the following statements, and I'll read them for you. On one side, it said, Namo Amida Butsu. On the second side, it said, this monument is dedicated to the brave soldiers who died in the wars, or in this case, in the war. And 3, dedicated by the Nass River branch of the Japanese Association in Taisho year 7, which means the year 1918. And in further research into this, I came across a text that was given to me by Mary Mori's husband, Chek Mori, and they're members of the Kelowna Buddhist Temple. And Chek had fought in the Second World War, and he received this book written by Roy Ito, who was also a veteran of the Second World War. And this is what he said in his text: we went to war. In the northern Salmon, Cannery, and Nass River, Japanese, white, and Indian fishermen attended a Buddhist ceremony at the community cemetery and raised a marker in honor of the Japanese volunteers. This marker is the monument that stands today in the cemetery in Gingolaks, Nishka First Nations village. This is the one that has perhaps caused quite a bit of interest in myself in trying to find out more about it. In doing so, I read further in the text, and this is what Roy Ito said about a fellow, not a fellow soldier, because this person fought in the First World War, and his name was Katsuji Nakashima. And Roy Ito quotes this: the burial of Tokunaga and Asada took place at 9:30 in the morning, witnessed by 5 surviving volunteers, the platoon commander and the company sergeant major. We said, Namo Amida Butsu, for the dead. Later, we collected the belongings of the 2 men to return to Canada. Also, in my further research, I found out that there is a person by the name of Kishimatsu Sugimoto. And I remember a previous conversation with our present president of the Jojo Shinshu Buddhist Temples Canada. And I think it would be her great uncle who fought in the First World War and in the same brigade, the 52nd Battalion. He died in action. In reference to Katsuji Nakashima, I feel that he understood the saying of Namo Amida Butsu as being very significant for the members of his troop in their daily lives, not just in preparation for the war, but in their daily lives. He was particularly knowledgeable of each soldier's religious faith and regarded it to be important. It meant to Katsuji Nakashima that Tokunaga and Asada were entering nirvana. It meant to him that they were now in the Buddha's world, safe from the suffering of the war. It meant to him that there is assurance that they were at peace. As in the case of these soldiers, this transformation from suffering into enlightenment is a working of the boundless compassion and wisdom of the Buddha. It is brought about through the Namo Amida Butsu, the calling voice of Amida. It's from the inner depths of Amida's heart that he is calling us to come just as we are, non-judgmentally and all inclusively. We acknowledge this by saying, Namo Amida Butsu. I'm going to refer to the collective works of Shinran, and herein this is what is stated. Needless to say, our Buddha Amida grasps beings with the name. Thus, as we hear it with our ears and say it with our lips, exalt her virtues without limit, grasp and pervade our hearts and minds. It becomes ever after the seed of our Buddhahood, all at once sweeping away at a koti of kalpas of heavy karmic evil, and we attain the realization of supreme enlightenment. I know truly that the name possesses no scant roots of good, but inexhaustible roots of good. Taitetsu Unno, a well-known and very highly regarded Jodo Shinshu follower, he is also the professor of emeritus of Asian Studies at Smith's College in Massachusetts, and a well-known scholar. This is what he said in his text, Shin Buddhism, Bits of Rubble into Gold. The ultimate goal of Jodo Shinshu is a saying of Nembutsu. It is not the number of times voiced, not even the purity of the heart involved, but simply the deep hearing of the name that calls, to which we want to respond. So reading these passages to myself and thinking about it and reflecting on it, I said to myself, what do these words really personally mean to me? And I'm going to try and articulate how the words Namo Amida Butsu, the calling voice of Amida, means to me. When I was young, my mother never referred to me as Roy. She always referred to me as Isao, my Japanese name. And just out of nowhere, she would say, Isao, and I would say, hi. My response was in English, yes. That's all it was. Isao, and I would say, hi. Now that I reflect upon that connection that we had, to me, that interchange, that brief communication expresses the bond of love between us. It's hard to describe in words. I felt assured that my mother was there, and likewise, she felt the same. It was that unconditional love. It's indescribable. How many of you today, particularly under these circumstances we're having, long to be able to speak to your mother, your father, your children? It's very difficult. And just to hear that voice, it sends a reverberation throughout your body. That energy that says, you know, yes, they're well, I'm well. And I think that is the calling voice of Amida, Namo Amida Butsu. Simple and yet a tremendous implication in terms of our thoughts, our feelings, and our connection with our loved ones. And this is what I think that the Buddha is conveying to us, his boundless love, compassion towards all of us, whether we're ill or well, or whomever we are, whatever our karmic situation may be. And now we're here in our temple. We're here right now, Reverend Grant and myself, and in your homes. And we're repeating the Namo Amida Butsu together. You know, the Nembutsu hasn't changed. It really hasn't changed. It's now 2,600 years after the passing of Shakyamuni Buddha. And yet, we're able to hear the calling voice of the Buddha. How wonderful, how wonderful. In closing, these words by Zhu Ming, the 8th century Chinese Pure Land master, says it all. And I'd like to have you listen to it with me. The Buddha, in the causal state, made the universal vow. When beings hear my name and think of me, I will welcome each of them, not discriminating at all between the poor and the rich and the well-born, not discriminating between the inferior and the highly gifted, not choosing the learned and those upholding pure precepts and whose evil karma is profound, solely making beings turn around and abundantly say the Nembutsu. I can make bits of rubble into gold. This poem is Zhu Ming's expression of his understanding of the 18th vow, the universal vow, the Honga. It is his expression of Buddha's boundless compassion and wisdom. Thank you everyone for listening to me. And I hope that despite our situation that we're having, that you're all doing well, and that sooner than later, we'll be able to all gather in our temples and to be able to repeat the Namo Amida Butsu together. Thank you, everyone. Namaste, namaskar.
Thank you, Roy Sensei, for that Dharma talk. Just to point out for the people that are not here in the lower mainland, the reason why the Jodo Shinshu Federation goes to Stanley Park is there's a cenotaph for Japanese Canadian veterans there. And that's why we go there annually on Remembrance Day. And if I'm not mistaken, the one up in Kincolith is even older than the cenotaph at Stanley Park. Is that correct, Marissa? Yeah. So thanks to the research that Roy Sensei has done, we found out that the cenotaph that is actually up in Kincolith is actually older than the one at Stanley Park, which would have some historical significance to it. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We'll just close the service portion with the recitation of the Nembutsu, so please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. I will now